Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great day so far. So today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be actually reacting to a Kati Morton video she had recently uploaded here on YouTube. I hopped onto Twitter last night and there was kind of a big fuss about the recent upload and why some people felt a certain type of way about it. And I want to watch it as a mental health worker to see if I can understand where some people are coming from and to share my opinions as well. Before we even get into all of that, if you are new here, welcome. This is Journey to Find Kay and I'm Kay. I like to talk about mental health. I usually react to Rewired Soul, but I also like to react to different topics here on YouTube as they relate to mental health and or addiction recovery. And that's because I'm a mental health patient, worker, and advocate, and I want to use my voice, my experience, my opinions to negate some of the negative things here on this platform. So if you enjoy my content and you enjoy watching me, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell so that way you are notified every time I post a video. So like I said, you guys, we're going to be doing something a little bit different today because I am going to be reacting to a Kati Morton video she recently uploaded with Eugenia Cooney, who is sharing her experience with a 5150 hold out there in California. I just recently uploaded a video about Leah Marie Johnson, sharing how we needed to take her situation seriously. And within that video, I had shared with her being in California, those close to her, you have the ability to get her 5150 to try and get her to get some help if they felt that was necessary. And I shared that from what I've seen from her lives on Instagram, that it seemed to be necessary. And I didn't want them to be afraid to get that type of help, and also share that with you guys that a lot of states have those type of laws in place as well, in case you know anyone that you may be worried about in your own personal life. So it was kind of crazy that I hopped onto Twitter yesterday and I saw Kati Morton getting a little bit of backlash from her video from Eugenia Cooney. There were people who had thought that Kati was enabling Eugenia. There were some people who felt that she might have scared people away from utilizing the 5150 law in California or similar laws in other states. There was someone who had actually assisted in getting the 5150 for Eugenia who felt that Kati kind of made it seem like it was bad that she did that, kind of felt like she was kind of bashing the situation when she had shared emails that Kati had spoke with her and kind of assisted her on how to get the process started. And there were some people who felt there was nothing wrong with the video, it was very educational and they enjoyed it. So like I always say in my intro, I am a mental health worker. In my past positions working in substance abuse treatment center, I have actually had to petition clients of mine to a similar hold as they have in California. It's a process, it's a legal process. You're actually legally having someone get help. So having that experience, having made the video talking about Leah Marie Johnson and how I felt that could be something that could be utilized in her situation. So with Kati making this video, I feel like it's just perfect timing. Having made my Leah Marie video, having the experience of actually having to petition someone to get services, want to see why some people feel the way they feel and offer, from my own experience, my opinions as well. Now, Kati is a licensed therapist. Props. That's what I want to be one day when I grow up. I'm not going to, try to sit here and bash her therapeutic practices or how she, engages with Eugenia, because she is a licensed therapist and therapists are just as individual as we are. So that is not my intent. My intent is just to kind of watch it from my perspective with my experience and see if I can understand or kind of maybe help others who might feel some type of way about the video by offering my opinion. So this has been a long intro. I apologize, you guys. Let's just get into this reaction. So I want to apologize first if this video is a little long. Her video is 26 minutes, so this will probably be a little bit of a lengthy video.
It's been a minute since I've given you guys an old school reaction video though.
Hopefully it's not too bad. So yes, you guys, this video would have been pretty long if I would have watched it at normal speed, because I had started it and saw that it was a little slow. So I've decided to watch it on 1.25 speed, so that way I don't have a super long video. So yeah, let's just get right on into it. I do know Eugenia Cooney. I know her story. I know she's been gone for a second. She did her coming back with Shane Dawson, all of that. Oh, okay, so they're actually at Eugenia's house. All right. I was wondering why the Shane Dawson things were in the background.
Thank you so much for taking time to sit down with me. Oh, of course. Thank you for having me here. Of course, of course. I've been wanting to talk to you.
Oh, come on.
We honestly, for those of you who don't know, Eugenia and I've only met like one time. I think at Playlist, right?
Yes.
Like years ago now. You were dressed like a Pokemon.
Yes, I had my Pikachu outfit on.
And it was only because my friend Michael Buckley was talking to you and I went over to say hi. He
Yes.
introduced us and he's so nice. I talk to my audience all the time about getting help and I've had videos about 5150s and all sorts of treatment options. And so today I just really want to talk about your story and how you ended up getting help. Because I know a lot of us are scared to reach out.
Yeah, and
I will just say this, I really do appreciate the premise of the video of giving the other side of a 5150, what it looks like from the receiving end of someone having to actually deal with going to get the help and stuff like that. I actually appreciate that because I was the one who had to petition. I have had clients come back to me and say they were grateful for it happening, but at that time it was kind of freaky because they didn't know what was going on. So I'm glad that she decided to talk to Eugenia and actually get her perspective on the receiving end, what it's like to be someone who's gotten petitioned.
I think sometimes it can be kind of so hard to reach out and kind of hard, I guess, to know like what to expect and
and to admit that you have an issue and to say like it warrants help, because a lot of you are worried, what if they don't take me seriously, or what if I'm not sick enough? We have a lot of those concerns.
Yeah, and I would kind of feel some of those too.
Yeah.
But I guess like for me, kind of like it would probably sound really crazy to a lot of people because I guess they're so long online. There's so many people like making videos and all my comments are just kind of spammed with like comments with my body and telling me I needed help. But I guess sometimes it's still kind of hard to see things the way other people do sometimes. At least like, for me it was. And also I guess kind of like it's like you said, it's just kind of I guess hard to actually like realize and admit to yourself that.
Well, yeah, and the eating disorder voice tells us
There
we're
you
not
go.
sick.
It's the disordered thinking
it's always,
making you think that.
Yeah. How it'll tell us that it always has a different goal that we can never achieve, and once we achieve that, it's a different goal, and that's why eating disorders can be so difficult to reach out and get help for.
Totally.
Or I'll say that could be applied to, you know, most mental health disorders, any type of disorder. Disordered thinking will have you think that you're okay, you're eating okay, or the way you're drinking is fine. So that does cover most either mental health concerns, addiction, disordered eating. It's that disordered thinking. The thinking is what's getting you.
Good. So
sorry you're getting
it's the brain.
I'm so bad at talking about it sometimes still. So
no,
sorry.
it's okay. It can be really difficult.
It can be. But yeah, actually like it was kind of I guess there was like a conversation with me and my mom, which she kind of has brought up some concerns to me in the past, which I'm glad like I never really talked too much about that because like
what's your personal stuff?
But there has been I guess like sometimes in the past where she would like mention to me that she was kind of I guess seeing that I was having a problem and that it was I guess getting to not the best point.
Yeah, she's worried about you.
Yeah, and then she was like worried and I guess like a lot of the time I would kind of try to like brush it off and be like, well, it's fine, you know, like I'm okay, like
don't worry about me.
Yeah, don't worry about it. And then I guess like kind of you know, she would just kind of be like, I think I'm still concerned, but I guess you can't really force anyone to.
No, and I think I've talked about that a lot, that you can't force anyone into treatment because you can't make them get better.
Facts.
Because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to do the work.
That's
and you're the one
right.
who has to be there.
That's right.
And that's what I'm always telling everybody. You can check in, you can assist. So what was the conversation with your mom?
That is true. I agree with that 100%. People in this field will let you know, like, yes, even though we're filling out a petition to get you help, to try to get you, the process started, it's ultimately up to the client to make sure that progress continues. Because we aren't you. You are the one who is going to have to continue to maybe go to therapy, take your medications, address whatever concerns that you may have with whatever you're going through. And that goes with, again, anything in life. So that is I agree.
Mom, like, if you don't mind sharing.
Oh, yeah, of course. So then there was actually one day, though, where I guess things were starting to get to a pretty bad point. And she, like, had a conversation with me and just, like, you know, like, you really, like, need to, like, stop this. Like, you really, at this point, like, need to do something about this. And, you know, actually, she was kind of, like, crying that morning. And it makes me feel really bad seeing that.
Of course, she's worried about you.
Exactly. And I guess, like, I was kind of, you know, like, I guess it was still kind of hard for me to, like, realize. And it's hard, like you said, like, even reaching out to get help, and it's kind of scary, I think, sometimes. But, you know, from talking to her, I guess, like, that day, too, and just kind of seeing how much, like, I guess it was hurting her, and also that, I guess at that point, I was kind of seeing that, like, okay, maybe I finally, like, should do something about this.
Yeah, you were, like, coming around to the idea.
Exactly. So then I guess, like, that day I kind of agreed with her, like, okay, I'll, like, go see a doctor and, like, I guess kind of begin.
And is that how it happened then?
So that was actually what our plan was going to be, and actually we were going to go back to Connecticut for me to like start this because
there are some good treatment centers over there that I know of.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and so actually like, and I was actually born in like Massachusetts originally, so then we figured, okay, we know some doctors there, and I guess sometimes too where you're just kind of like more familiar with home, like, 'cause I guess in LA, like, it's really nice here and everything, but I've only really lived here a couple of years. I don't really have doctors I know out here, and I guess it's kind of scary sometimes, just like even more so.
Like in a new area, I don't know
exactly.
anybody. Yeah, I'm away from home.
Totally,
and still feel that way.
So then, actually, there was like a day where I had some people that we were kind of friends at the time. We weren't.
I only have a little bit of an issue with that just because not everybody can afford to go across country to get assistance where, you know, they might feel comfortable.
Not mad at her because she has the funds and is able to do that.
So if you're looking for help and, you know, you can't go anywhere, don't feel that you have to go some specific area to get assistance. You can get help where you are at. That's my only little thing with that. It's kind of one of those moments where you remind people like, hey, you know, she has the funds to be able to do that. Not everyone does. Don't be afraid to hit your local resources. You can do some research into finding whichever one is the best one, but don't allow it to stop you from getting help, especially when you're at that pivotal point of wanting to get help. You're actually at that point where you're like, yes, I'm ready to go get help.
Really like as close, I guess, as they would kind of make things into later, but they invited me to like go out with them. And they told me that we were going to an escape room.
Okay.
Really?
So I know we're talking about the girl.
Oh,
Right now I believe she's talking about one of the complaints that the girl had. She felt Katie kind of bashed her for assisting in getting the 5150 done. So that's where we're at right now. Okay.
I think like one.
Okay, they sound fun. But so that's they invited you out, yeah.
They're about like puzzles and stuff. So
yeah, you have to like solve the riddles.
Yeah. So that's what I thought we were going to, and I was kind of like, okay, like, you know, I'm going to their place. We're gonna go to an escape room. Like, cool, I guess. So then I ended up going over there, and everything like seemed normal. Then they kind of like sat me down, and we were talking pretty normally. Then they kind of did start bringing concerns up to me.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, at the time, you know, I just had a conversation with my mom about it. Like, I was kind of more open to talking about things. So
that's good, yeah.
I did kind of.
Yeah, like I know.
Yeah, it was like, I guess it's still kind of like hard to talk about at first, like especially. But I was kind of, you know, telling them that I was thinking about getting help and was like, oh, we're open to that. So, yeah, like, you know, at the time I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, there are concerns. Like, I appreciate them caring. But this was literally the first time that any of those people ever brought any kind of concerns up to me. I actually think, like, now I'm like thinking back, there was like one time, maybe like a couple of years ago, where two of them like texted me like one thing. And at the time I kind of was just like, oh, I'm fine. Like,
like, don't worry.
Yeah, and that was pretty much it. Never anything in person or anything like that. Like, literally, they did not bring up any concerns to me. So, you know, I just figured, okay, like maybe now at this point they're concerns. But then there was one more person that was also gonna be there, but I guess they were in a text conversation, but they didn't end up showing up. Okay, so
I'm gonna be honest, you guys, the girl who actually tweeted at Katie sharing like that she had spoken with her about doing this with Eugenia. I don't know too much about her, if she has a channel or what her relationship is with Eugenia. So I'm kind of just gonna take this off of face value from what Eugenia is sharing right here. Let me know down in the comments if you know a little bit more. Educate me a little bit more about relationship with her. Were they really close? Is Eugenia downplaying the relationship? Because I feel like for the girl to be mad at Katie stating that she feels like she's kind of bashing her in this video or making her seem bad for doing this whole situation, I feel like maybe there's a little bit more to that relationship. I feel that maybe Eugenia's downplaying the whole situation because it was something that she didn't enjoy. She didn't like that they did that because it does take away some control. And a lot of times when we're going through like mental health concerns, disordered eating, addiction recovery, one thing that we like is our control. So I want to know if she might be downplaying that, because I can understand Eugenia being upset because this is something she obviously didn't enjoy happening to her. She's dealing with disordered eating, and a lot of times, you know, I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of times some of the reasoning people have, you know, disordered eating disorders is because it's something they can control. Can control what you eat, what you don't eat, etc. And they were about to take that control away from her when she wasn't ready. So I'm trying to see if she's maybe a little still upset about that and is downplaying this relationship. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Educate me, please. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry by the way if I'm like dragging the story out or anything.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
So then basically I saw one of them left for a second. I figured maybe they were going to get that person. I was starting to think, okay, things seem a little bit weird. Like they told me the escape room was at like 1:15, I think, or something. Like it's
like
to get going.
Oh yeah.
So then
were you at someone's house?
Yes, we were actually at
because I was thinking you were at the place.
Oh no, actually we met first at their apartment. One of them left, and I figured they were going to get the other person that was supposedly going to be showing up. And then suddenly I see that these two other ladies come in. And I was kind of not expecting that. I didn't really know who they were. And then it turns out, I guess they were two I don't know if they were like social workers or they worked in some mental health company. I don't.
It could. I mean, from what I know, and is that if, like, let's say I was worried about you,
Right.
and mainly the way that I see this usually playing out is if it's like your mom was
Yeah.
really worried and you lived together,
Yeah.
and she was like, "We need to get you in." And you're like, "No,
okay.
And she was like,
I see where that could be taken a little bit away. The way she said it, she said, no, the way I usually do is your mom. That is a little bit of a jab at those who did, put this 5150 into place. So I can understand why the person who had filed the 5150 can feel a certain type of way. I can understand that. That was a little bit of something you could take as a jab, like, well, I usually do it for like your parents or whatever the case is. I see it there. I do.
I'm worried about your safety, blah, blah, blah. Then you could call the police or the PET team. It's called the Psychological Evaluation Team, PET.
Might have been
So my guess would be it's probably the PET team.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So these two women come in.
Yes.
So out here in Arizona, it is very similar to what she is stating. You can contact the police and state that, hey, you're worried about someone. It might be something psychiatric that they might need assistance with. And they can dispatch police to come out and try to de-escalate the situation and take them to the psychiatric urgent care out here, or, the hospital, psych hospital, whatever location they take them to. We also have the crisis network, which is what she's basically describing is the PET team. We have different agencies that run them. We have a couple of agencies out here that have their own crisis teams. It all goes through a hotline. We have a hotline out here called our crisis line, especially if you are a client at at an agency. We'll provide you that number to let you know if you're having a hard time, you need someone to talk to, you can contact the crisis line. They have a line to where you can just speak with someone, or they can send out what's called a crisis team, which is similar to what Eugenia is talking about. They go out and do their own assessment. A lot of times for you to be on the crisis team out here in Arizona, you are usually a licensed therapist, social worker, someone who is able to assess the situation and see if that person is danger to self, danger to others, or if it's just, a community contact, they were able to de-escalate the situation, stuff like that. I'm only again speaking for Arizona. Out here, if the crisis team does choose to petition that person, what they would do is they would speak with their supervisor, get some paperwork started. A lot of the times out here, they will go file that paperwork. The judge looks at the information that you filled out. It is very detailed. It takes a long time to do, 4 hours for me. And then I had to do documentation, all of that stuff. It goes to a judge. The judge looks at the documentation, the information that you shared stating that this person needs help. And then they will dispatch the police to go and take you to the psychiatric urgent care or a hospital to get this treatment.
And I can start the process of court-ordered treatment, but that's a whole little bit another something that I don't want to talk about.
So sorry, that's a very long explanation of different ways that this can happen. I personally haven't worked in a substance abuse treatment center. I was able to go straight to the actual urgent care and petition right then and there, and then have them file it and do that and send the cops out. But another option is the way that she was stating as well. A lot of times we prefer for you to contact the crisis teams and stuff like that to get the process started so they can try to de-escalate the situation before trying to petition someone for treatment. It's not easy. It's not as quick as Genius might be trying to make it out in this video. But let's keep going. I've been talking a lot.
So then, they kind of then they were like, oh, hey, we don't need to talk to you. Do you prefer that your friends are here or not here? So I was feeling then kind of like,
You're like, about what? Did they tell you what was going on?
Well, then, I guess we're my friends at the time were bringing some of these concerns to me. I figured, okay, I guess it's got to be something about that. But at first I was kind of I thought they just want to talk to me. I didn't, this was really catching me off guard. I don't know what was going on. So then the ladies were kind of hey, do you want to talk to us with your friends or without your friends? We need to talk to you. And I was feeling kind of like I was still kind of, I guess, trying to, be okay, I guess, hopefully nothing bad is going to happen here. I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I felt kind of, I would guess they betrayed, exactly, because I didn't really even know what was going on yet.
Yeah.
But
so that's why I want to know, is she downplaying the friendship because she's still upset?
I'll just talk to them by myself, but that's okay, because at this point,
And I'm not saying her feelings aren't valid, because that can be a traumatic experience, having all of a sudden someone you don't know, they're coming, they're asking you questions, what can feel like invasive questions, and then next thing you know, you're carted off in a police car to some mental health hospital that you didn't know was going to happen. That wasn't how you planned your day. I can definitely understand why she would be upset. That's why I also want to know from you guys, is that why she's downplaying the friendship? As I explained, it's not an easy process to get someone petitioned. It's not something that's easy for someone to try to take advantage of or cheat the system or play the system or anything like that. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Let me know.
Weird.
Yeah.
So then they sat me down. They kind of were asking me some questions about my weight and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't want to say anything that way too triggering to
Yeah,
anyone.
no numbers.
So
Please don't
yeah,
take numbers.
definitely would not mention that stuff. I guess just kind of, you know, related to that topic.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know, honestly, like being completely honest, like how much like I wanted to share with them just because like I don't know these people.
Yeah, they're brand new to you.
Yeah,
You know, it's
they're
hard
brand
enough
new
to
to me.
open up to a therapist, let alone
Exactly.
and you've known them for a while.
That's the thing. It's like still, I think when you kind of like you don't really know somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really know how it's gonna like go, and you don't really know they're gonna understand or what they're gonna do. So it was very like scary to me. So I was, I guess, kind of just trying to like, you know, be calm and everything, and I didn't really want to like fully tell them like everything that maybe I was feeling or everything that
That's normal.
I guess in a way I just kind of wanted
And
to like,
understandable.
believe that I was
Of course,
feeling really
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So then, you know, I explained to them, like, you know, I actually just talked to my mom this morning. I do have plans to, like, go see a doctor. And, like, I didn't know exactly when they were going home. You know, I asked my mom about it. She was like, no, I was planning on flying you home sooner.
Yeah.
But at the time, I did tell them, I was like, oh, I think maybe in, like, a month or two. Because, you know, it's so scary when it's so new to you. So,
And it can be scary to even admit that you're going to get help.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of my patients have over the years said, like, to think that to know that you need help is hard enough. To imagine doing it that day is even harder.
Totally.
And it can feel really scary.
Definitely. And like that's like very much
Very
how I was feeling.
overwhelming.
So I guess I was telling them that, and then they came back and then they were like, we think your friends have some concerns too. So then they had them come in and also sit down, and they were asking them some questions. I mentioned it again about my mom, and it was really weird because I think one of them even said that like I have like a script of what I say. Like I always say the same thing, like I'm gonna get help, I'm gonna do this and that, I'm fine. Like I say the same things. They're also telling the mental health
Professional,
the professionals, whatever. They're telling them that, and it's like it's confusing to me because I don't remember ever telling them or really telling anyone I was going to get help. Like I don't remember ever saying that. And then they were also kind of making all these claims about my mom and about how almost like she's like abusive, almost how she like I don't remember exactly what they were saying, but how basically I wasn't gonna get help and how she was definitely
like not help, like almost enabling bad behavior or something.
And even like they were saying I think some bad things about my brother and like, my
geez.
family, and it was crazy. So then like I guess like from their concerns, like what they were telling the mental health professionals about like the situation.
I mean, I don't see where she's enabling her so far because this is Eugenia's experience. This is her perspective of what was going on during that time. So I don't see how Katie might be enabling her. So let's just keep watching. I just wanted to say that so far. We're 12 minutes in. Maybe it gets a little bit worse. Let's see.
And there was actually another thing where they mentioned this to them. Like they said, we've tried talking to you so many times. Like you don't ever listen. You say this all the time. And it's like, it was very like confusing to me because they literally never brought any concerns up to me before, other than like those two texts.
Again, is she downplaying this relationship?
So it's like never in person or anything like that. And it's like,
And the only reason I'm really asking is just because the statements she's saying that they stated about her, and I can understand why this girl feels like maybe she's getting a little bashed because Katie had talked to the person who had filed the 5150 and shared with her on how to get it started, which is understandable. Katie is licensed and practicing in California, so she is able to do that. I've seen claims that that might be unethical or anything like that. No, as long as she's not saying you have to do this and try and tell you exactly what you should do and diagnose you and stuff like that. Her giving advice and explaining how to get the process started, especially for someone who lives in her practicing state, there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't really see how she might be enabling. I feel that because the person who filed this knows that they spoke with Katie and she was able to provide the info to get the process started, maybe she's expecting Katie to say, well, I know this or whatever the case is. But again, we have to remind ourselves this is Eugenia's story. This is her experience and how she felt. We can sit back and understand that a lot of this might be coming from, again, a hurt place because it was something out of her control. It wasn't at the pace she wanted it to be. That is why I ask if she's downplaying the relationship, because the statements that they're saying or she is saying that they use to speak to these people, to speak to this crisis team, seems like it's from a relationship that's deeper than what she's playing it out. I can understand why the person who actually filed is feeling some type of way because she knows she spoke with Katie and is probably expecting for Katie to kind of say, well, you know, or try to interject something. But again, this is Eugenia's story, and there's nothing wrong with Katie, who is licensed and practicing in California, to share how to get process started in California. Now, if it was for someone who doesn't live in California, then that can be an issue. She is in California. She understands California. That is just like me. I'm in Arizona. I know my system. I know that the systems can be similar in different states, but I know Arizona better because I'm out here. I don't see an issue with that.
Sometimes like having like a talk in person with somebody could be more
100%.
like, like
it's hard enough.
Exactly.
Because like you said, it can feel very, like we've talked about this a lot on the channel too, like speaking openly about a struggle that you're having can make you feel really vulnerable.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shame associated with eating disorders specifically. We all know our eating disorder voice will tell us over and over again, like, we're okay, it's not bad, you're not sick enough, people don't understand.
Exactly.
It's all these things that it lies to us, you know, essentially. But it's like, that's really difficult. And for someone to, it's easier if someone comes in and says like, I'm just really concerned about you and I care about you, how can I help? Is a much better way to maybe talk to you versus a text.
Exactly.
Just saying.
So then like they were going, yes, they're saying that, and it's like,
and I can understand why someone might feel some type of way about that statement. But again, she's going off of Eugenia's story and Eugenia's experience, how she's sharing this story. As someone who is a therapist, I don't see her enabling her. I see her allowing her to have a safe space to share her experience, because this can be traumatic for some people. So I don't really see it as enabling. I don't really see her trying to bash anyone specifically, because she's going off of Eugenia's story. So this is just my opinion, you guys. My opinion.
I don't know what is going on. I don't know why you're saying that. So they're telling like the mental health professionals this, and I felt kind of like trapped then, because I was kind of like, well, it's like how many people showed up? Like 4 people, I guess. And it's kind of their word against my word, and chances are they're not going to take me too seriously at this point, where there's like 4 people that are on, like, you know, they're all kind of on the same side there. So
what happened then?
Then they told me, okay, you know, like, we're gonna have to like make a decision, and that's it. We had to make a decision, and then so then from there, like, I guess they go outside, they do what they're gonna do, and I was kind of like, I kept telling them like, hey, is there any way that I can like just, you know, contact my doctor in Connecticut? Like, I am gonna get help, but it's just that's what I feel more comfortable doing. And I was telling like my friends this as well, but like just felt like no one was listening to me. And I guess eventually they decide like, yep, you have to listen to us. You have to basically go to this place. So I don't know like where I'm going. They like take me outside.
So that that bothers me, just because, again, I don't know how it's ran in California. If you guys know a little bit better, let me know down in the comments below. Out here, again, I've shared my experiences. Usually it's not just a, hey, give a phone call, we get a decision, and then we take you. But it is, they'll offer to take you first. If they feel that it is something that you need help with, they'll say, this is our recommendation. We offer to take you to this place. If they feel that they have enough info that you are a danger to yourself or others, go and petition for you to get picked up by the police to get taken to the hospital. But they usually offer to you first, like, hey, this is our recommendation. We are concerned. Do you want to come with us? If you say no, and they feel that they have enough reason with you being a danger to self and others, that is when they can expedite and go get a petition to get you court ordered into treatment at a hospital or psychiatric urgent care like we have out here. But I don't see it as, hey, just get in the back of my car. They're not cops. You know, they don't have any legal jurisdiction over you because you're still an adult. You're still someone who has your own rights. So for them to impede on those rights without some type of legal documentation, which is what a 5150 is, it's a legal document, it's a court order, they can't do that. So that's very questionable. So again, if it's different in Cali, let me know.
And they put me in like restraints.
Oh, they strap you. Yeah. So it's like a 5150. Which I've talked about this a little bit in the past. I know many of you have been in situations similar to this, whether it's because we were suicidal, self-injury, eating disorder, all sorts of different reasons, feeling really depressed. It can be traumatizing.
It can be. So then like they put me in like or whatever after I'm like in their
That's why I'm like, that's why I'm trying to see, is it a 5150 or did she volunteer to go? Because I don't see them just forcing a grown-up to get into the back of their car without some type of legal proceeding happening. Is the 5150 different out there? Do you guys not have to go? No, it's a legal thing. So I guess I don't know. But this is her experience. I'm not trying to invalidate her experience. This is her perception. This is what she went through having this happen to her. But I feel like there's some good information that needs to be explained.
Yeah, so then it was really crazy. There was one
Because
guy.
this can. Now I understand why people feel that this can be something that can scare someone away, because it's not really explained that it takes time, and it's not just a, hey, we're coming to the house to take you to a psych hospital. There's a process that occurs with this.
Was like, I guess, one of the people that had to like watch me as I was back there, and he actually seemed really nice. Like, he was kind of like, oh, like, no, I hope it again is okay for you, because it sounds to me like you got like screwed over here. Like,
Yeah,
it
kind of
seems-
bamboozled a little bit.
Yeah, and then he was like, yeah, there's not really anything you can do like once they make that decision, but just like explain to them the situation. I'm sure it'll be fine. So I was still kind of like honestly really freaked out, because like they take your phone away. I can't call my mom anymore. I have like no access to her.
Yeah.
Anything.
They put you in the locked ward and they take you to the hospital.
And like I guess it's like a mental hospital. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, when we do get 5150, unfortunately, they don't take you to like eating disorder treatment center
Yeah.
or
Yeah, no.
they take you to a hospital. And in Los Angeles County, unfortunately,
Or out
we
here,
have a lot of,
urgent
psych
care,
wards.
psychiatric urgent care.
That's something that I struggle with as a professional in the area, is like, if a patient of mine is having a hard time, for them to have to go to be 5150, which I've never had to do in my private practice, by the way. But I don't have a lot of options, and it can be really scary because it's in kind of like dodgy parts of town, and you sit. If you take yourself to the hospital, you often sit with a lot.
I have an issue with that part.
Dodgy part of town. Our mental health system isn't the greatest, but we have to be careful with how we work things. So here, some of them are in gray areas, some of them are. We do have a pretty decent amount of mental health hospitals that they can take you. They usually have a list of hospitals that they're able to take you to that can assist, and a lot of them aren't in all dodgy areas. So I kind of have an issue with that, because that can scare someone who's like, oh my gosh, the ghetto. You know, like, no, get help. If you need to get help, don't let that scare you, because after this part's temporary. It doesn't last as long. After you get this assistance, you have the freedom to go to any other agency you want to within whatever your health insurance is, whatever the case is that you feel more comfortable with. But this is just to get the process started. You might be a danger to yourself. You might be a danger to others. There's a reason why the court said that you need to get this help. I just didn't like that part.
Waiting in the waiting room, and
I work with low
or
income.
psychotic people who are on the
Sorry, I don't
floor
like how
itself.
that sounds.
So it can feel really difficult if we just feel suicidal, or if we've been 5150 against our will for eating disorder reasons. We're in with everybody. Was that kind of what it was like?
It's like once you get there, it was like it's very scary. Like, you see some crazy things going on, and like how it was for me. Like, once they I had to wait a couple hours, I guess, to like get in the room, and then like once you get in there, and it's no offense to like any of these people at all.
No, it's just not the right fit.
Yeah,
right? Like, you're not dealing with psychosis.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's like, I'm sure a lot of these people, they are dealing with like their own problems, and like I really hope.
Okay, I get it. She's not dealing with a mental health concern. She was obviously still a danger to herself. So I get that it can be scary to go in and see people in actual psychosis, to see people who are a danger to themselves, talking about killing themselves, whatever the case is. I get that. I feel like that has to be kind of framed carefully, because
Again, this isn't invalidating her feelings, because I understand how it can be traumatic.
there was a reason why it occurred, and we got to be careful with how we say these things, because yes, it's not a perfect situation. Yes, we can't just separate or whatever, but that can kind of feel like we're, down talking, or maybe, bashing other mental health concerns, or maybe making it seem like an eating disorder. What I know about Eugenia or her situation dealing with her eating disorder, it might have felt like it was a good fit. Again, funding and all of that stuff, if we have an issue, let's talk to our politicians, but let's be careful of how we word that, because, that kind of came off as, yeah, you're not as crazy as, you know what I'm saying? We got to be careful. We got to be careful.
They do be able to get help for that.
Totally.
But I think like kind of when you've never been in like a situation like that, because I would see like basically there was like a bunch of beds, probably like 16-ish beds.
That's all right.
Which they would
It's usually between 10 and 20.
Are they usually rock hard, or is that just?
They're always rock hard.
Okay.
And they're like
That's
covered in
like
that
my voice.
plastic
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
There's like nothing to do. Just like
And there's like one little blanket and one pillow, and there's bad TV. It's just nothing.
nothing there. It's
But
like,
again, this is not supposed to be a luxury resort. This is not supposed to be something you get super comfortable with. These holds are like usually a max of 72 hours of figuring out. You need to be here longer to get stable, to receive services, or are you truly okay for you to leave here and continue to get services outside of this? This is just a right now solution to try to get things started faster, especially when you are at such a scary state. Danger to self, danger to others. others is the biggest criteria usually for these type of holds. So you're not supposed to be there to be comfortable. It is get you started in services as fast as possible if your needs warrant it. If not, get you out. You do need to go somewhere they can transfer you to an actual bed, you're admitted, or you go home. So it's not supposed to be comfortable, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't want anyone to get scared to get treatment or to think about going to get this type of assistance for someone because it's uncomfortable or the beds are hard or there's scary people there, anything like that. It's just a quick solution. This is a solution that we're trying to offer people to be safe, from not hurting themselves or others, whatever the situation may be.
In a room going crazy.
Did you have groups at least?
No, we actually didn't even have groups. We literally just
Yeah, no, you're just there to be evaluated and see if you need, if you are able, you're there to be evaluated to see if you need to stay longer to get help or to go home and to get services elsewhere. It's not there for you to be there long term like that unless you're admitted.
Yeah, but it felt like forever.
I was just saying that feels like, well,
It's crazy.
because you can't really sleep if you don't feel safe.
Because the thing is, like, what I would see is, like, there was just a bunch of kind of screaming, and there was like one guy, and I'm sure he was like a good person and all, but he was telling me how
But again,
like,
it can
he
be
just got
scary.
out of the county jail, and then he was moved here. I guess he's like, how many times have you been here? And it's like, I've never.
Which does happen because if you guys don't know, the way that our system works is if you are imprisoned, like let's say the police pick you up for something, but it turns out that it's because of a mental illness, it's not because you're just committing a crime or something like that, then they'll ship you over from the jail where you stay for like 24 hours until they can get you transferred, then they transfer you over to the hospital. Then they put you in the psych ward again with everybody else. And this is why a lot of you have told me that 5150s for you have been more detrimental than actually beneficial to treatment, because it's like traumatizing in and of itself, and you don't have any rights, and it can feel very disempowering, I guess is the best way.
I completely
It's
agree.
understandable.
Like, I don't know, I literally.
That is understandable, but we have to focus on the fact it's a last resort. It is not something we're trying to just do to you right away. It's not something that we offer at first sight. When there's a worry of danger to self and danger to others, we can't get you to contract to safety, contact crisis, and they feel like you need to get assistance. You don't want to voluntarily go with them, and they feel that you are still a danger to yourself and others. It is a last ditch resort because it's a legal matter. So when she says you don't have rights, she's correct, because this is something that we can't just throw out there and use. It's legal. It is a legal process. So it takes time and there are steps to get there. I don't want anyone to feel like this is something someone can just be like,
Oh, there's something wrong with you, so I'm gonna go petition you to the hospital.
no. When you go to petition someone, it takes time. It's a long process. It's not easy, and you have to be able to back up the reason why you're trying to get this person assistance. That it's not something to where we're trying to take your rights away right away to go get help, and we have to be careful when explaining this situation.
We kind of felt like in danger sometimes because it's like there's people like banging on walls, like everyone was like banging and like screaming, and then right before I left, I was like, yeah, because it was just like I guess like they had kind of some therapists like just kind of go make sure that like you're ready. Like there was one guy, I think they asked him like, do you still feel like hitting people with cars? Because that's like the thing.
But that's that's when you have like, so 5150s, if for those of you who don't know, and maybe you don't even know because like this isn't something you're used to, but we have to 5150 someone as a mental health professional if they're a danger to themselves or if they're a danger to someone else. And so he was a danger to someone else because he felt the urge to hit someone.
Yeah, because I guess that's the thing is some people, that's where, like, in my opinion, which with those people, again, like, not that it's all their fault or anything like that, but I kind of think it would be, like, in my opinion anyway, like, a better idea to maybe, like, separate people that could be a danger to others just because, like, you don't always know, like,
it should be danger to self, danger to
right? Because it's like,
which totally makes logical sense.
Hurt, like, other people.
It should be that way.
It's a little bit scary sometimes. Like, when my mom would come in to visit, actually, like, they don't know what to
They
say. Look, I had a
usually
full
don't.
side, it was, like, a line.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it only talks for, what are we, like, 2 minutes?
I think you get like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and like she heard, I think it was the guy that was like going over everyone's beds, like he was like scraping like crazy, and it's just.
But again, they're California.
Yeah, it can feel really
Like,
scary.
Yeah.
A lot more
Definitely.
people.
So after the 5150 was done and you were out,
Yes.
then what happened?
So then, I'm not to call them like that, like crazy place, you know, it's
scary.
It's a scary place.
Yeah, a lot of you told me you've been in a similar situation.
Yeah,
It's
so
terrifying.
And because, like, yeah, I can understand that. And your power, I can understand it being scary. And then your control, your power was taken away because someone thought that you were a danger to yourself or others and legally needed to take your rights to consent to get treatment from you to force you to see if you need to get treatment. I can understand why that is a traumatic thing.
Then, like, actually, we just kind of ended up like flying right back to Connecticut.
Okay, good.
And I did end up meeting with the doctor, and they agreed that I should like pretty much have to go into a program at that point.
Yeah.
And luckily, it was like at my own will, so I didn't have
So
to.
you got to decide.
Yeah, I got to like decide if I was going to or not, which I think is a lot better than
Definitely.
just being like.
You can't force someone.
Yeah, exactly.
5150. 5150 isn't trying to, again, this is why I need you guys to explain to me her whole situation with her friends or whatever, because from my own experience out here and where I live, it's not a quick process, and it's not something to where it's just like, hey, we're trying to take your will away and force you to do something. It's a last resort. It's something that they feel like you needed to do for you to get the process started, to get the help that you may need, because you're a danger to self and you're a danger to others. Having an eating disorder is a danger to yourself. Ultimately, you could be slowly killing yourself. So,
things. Is that how you deal with it?
I think sometimes. I know it probably seems like really weird.
No, I think a lot of people do that. That's even like comedians make jokes about serious things to make light of it. And I've noticed when you're like, it was bad.
Yeah, I guess that's
kind
of
of
what I do.
Yeah, it's okay. I was just curious if you noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that I don't even notice that I'm doing it, but
it's okay. You don't have to change.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just curious about
but
it.
yeah.
So so we're in Connecticut. We
So
see
in
our doctor.
Connecticut, I see my doctor, and they end up saying like, yep, you're gonna like go into like a program, and basically then I did go into a program for all of that, and I definitely think it's still kind of hard where like you've never really gotten help for anything before.
Yeah,
and
first time can be really hard.
Yeah,
and especially because they take away your ability to do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though
You
it's
lose
like
the control.
Trust me, I worked.
You're not in control anymore.
I followed you, people like you into the bathroom, and you're like, this is uncomfortable. We don't even feel like ourselves because they've like taken away our way to cope.
Like I don't ever like get angry or anything, but I definitely was feeling like really like sad a lot of days, and it's like that's the thing. I guess you kind of do feel like really kind of like not even like yourself some days, because it's like you do kind of feel like.
I'm not really seeing the enabling guys though. I'm gonna be honest.
And also like
I feel like she's just giving her a safe space to talk and share her experience.
I mean, it's therapy, which is good.
Yeah,
but it's like it's intense, and they call it
we got 2 minutes, almost done.
So you were there for 2 months, 3 months?
I was there actually like I think like about a month. So it wasn't too long, and after that I just kind of had like doctor's appointments. And
okay, perfect. So you kind of like
that.
titrated down.
Yeah.
So are you still in therapy then?
So right now, I guess I'm not really like in like a super constant therapy or anything like that. But when I ever like do feel like I'm struggling or like need to talk to somebody, then luckily I did meet like a therapist where like she was really nice when I was in that program, and I'm able to like talk to her.
I feel like maybe now, again, in my own opinion, knowing that she's had this, disorder for such a long time, she might need more consistent therapy than every once in a while. But it's her treatment. You get to do that. Individual treatment plans.
It's for you, so.
That's just my opinion, you guys.
I didn't like message her or anything like that. So I definitely think like when you do meet someone that's like really nice and like you connect well, then that makes it easier. Then I guess just kind of finding like a good fit and all of that. So I think that can
recovery is a process too.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you have your good days and your bad days.
Yeah, totally. I think like definitely some days can be easier than others, and some days can I guess still be kind of hard.
Of course. Yeah, and I think it's like it can be hard to be online also and have people weigh in on your treatment. And we all know that everybody's situation is individualized.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, of course.
I know a lot of us talk about, and I've talked a lot about treatment, getting treatment, and I just really wanted you to know what it could really be like and what a 5150 can feel like for those of you who maybe haven't been in that situation, so that we kind of have a better understanding from all perspectives.
Yep.
So
I think that was a good idea.
Thank you for having me on to talk about it.
Of course, I think it's important that we understand how it is and what it can be like, because I've worked in the facilities and I can talk about it from that perspective, but I can't talk about it from the person who's going through it. So yeah, I hope this was helpful.
So I do agree with her. I think this was actually a decent video because we're hearing someone's experience as the person who actually got 5150'd and through her eyes. I don't see really anywhere where she was enabling her. And Katie is a licensed therapist, so she understands active listening skills, being able to gauge and keep a client talking and feel comfortable. I feel like she did a really great job with that. She was allowing Eugenia to share her experience as someone who got 5150. So I can understand the criticism of how this video could come across as having the possibility of scaring people away from utilizing 5150 or getting help in general, because again, Katie is doing a great job of allowing Eugenia to have a safe space to share her opinion and share her experience, but we have to be careful because it did come across as it being something that can be easily done without much evidence, without much say from Eugenia. Now, there are times where if they feel you are a straight danger to self and danger to others, they might not offer you to, hey, come with us, voluntarily take you to this place. They just stay with you, contact a coworker to go out and start the petition to get you actually committed to the hospital. But it's a process that does take some time. So we have to be careful because yes, Eugenia is sharing her personal experience. And I do like that, Katie had that disclaimer in the beginning saying this is her personal story. But I also feel like, again, in my own opinion, that Katie should have stated, this does take some time as this is a legal process. From my own personal experience of having to petition someone, it took a good
like 4 hours from me filling out the paperwork, providing backup information, turning it in, getting it to a judge, them looking at the information, see if it warrants them to send out the police to take this person to the hospital to get them, to actually commit them to get evaluated for that whole, to see if they need to be court ordered to treatment or if they're able to leave and go continue treatment on their own volition.
So I just feel like that was something that I can understand why people might feel it scares people away, because it's not that easy. It's not that quick. Again, they are in California. I'm speaking from being in Arizona, but I feel like a lot of states are similar, and that is something that needs to be expressed and shared as well. I can understand why the friend feels a way about Kati and thinking that she might be kind of bashing or downplaying her taking the step to get her the help that she needs to do the 5150. But I just want people to understand that Kati is a therapist, so her main goal for this part was for Eugenia to feel comfortable to share her experiences, to share how she felt, to share the other side of a 5150 experience. I don't think she deliberately tried to make it seem like you guys were horrible for doing it. I do understand parts where you could perceive it that way and feel, you know, that was kind of, you know,
A little bit of a jab.
I understand that. You guys saw it in my reaction. But I feel like ultimately this was a decent video because she allowed her to explain her side, share her experience of being 5150 and give it from Eugenia's perspective. It could be a double-edged sword. She doesn't want to inject too much, but I feel like there should have been a little bit more explanation maybe at the end to allow people to understand, like, hey, 5150s aren't as easy. This is just how she perceived it, her feelings, stuff like that. But that's just my own take on it. So again, you guys, I just want to hear your thoughts and opinions. I feel like it was a good video. I appreciate getting someone's perspective, being on the receiving end of a 5150. I want to hear from you guys. Explain to me, is this friendship that she's talking about, she really downplaying it? Because I feel like she is, because she is upset because it wasn't that great of experience for her. I want to hear from you guys down below. If you liked this video, enjoyed me reacting to Kati Morton, give me a thumbs up so that way I know that I did something right. And if you made it this far and you haven't subscribed to me yet, what are you doing? Don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell so that way you're notified every time I post a video. If you want, no one's forcing you. I do appreciate you just taking the time to watch and enjoy my content. Don't be afraid to hit me up on Twitter at JourneyToFindK. I'll talk to you guys later. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.